Welcome back to the Messianic Hour. I'm your host, Rabbi Scott. The show is dedicated to reaching the lost and educating the found. I'm glad you're listening to us today. I want to encourage you to go to our website at rabbiscott.com. If you have an iPhone product or an Apple product, you can download our app, the Messianic Hour, and our congregational app as well, Beth Adonai. Check it out. If you're in the Atlanta area, come by and visit us. If you're not, watch us online. We live stream all of our services. Plus, you can watch these shows on YouTube now, as well as our website, and listen to the archive shows there as well. So, Judy, we got a lot going on. The holidays are right around the corner. You know, there's big controversies going on in the news, you know, that we should not call Christmas trees Christmas trees. There's one up in, I think, Rhode Island. They're calling it a holiday tree. I guarantee you, if you put a menorah up there, it cannot be a holiday menorah. It's a Hanukkah menorah. Definitely a difference. We're keeping the name Hanukkah in the remembrance of the feast.
Well, it's got to be a Hanukkah menorah, because otherwise you don't know how to distinguish between a menorah that would have just been in the temple and the traditional Hanukkah menorah that's got the 9 branches. And
then you have a 9 branch for the Hanukkah, lasts for 8 days. We'll talk about why we have a 9th candle there. The traditional menorah, is a 7-branch menorah, and that's why we have to keep the word Hanukkah in Hanukkah.
Well, and Hanukkah, we know, means dedication. And the Feast of Hanukkah is the Feast of Dedication. And the only place that we see this mentioned in the entire Bible, Torah, Haftorah, Brit Hadashah, is in the book of John, where it says that Yeshua was in the courts of the temple during the Feast of Dedication.
And he was in Solomon's courts, too, which makes it so interesting because, remember, the temple that was standing was David's, but Solomon's court, that outer area, was the only thing that remained of the original temple. So he's there, he's preaching on the Feast of Dedication. Another name for, all our Jewish holidays have multiple names. Feast of Dedication. You could spell Hanukkah 18 different ways. I saw a sign the other day, Christmas. It's easier to spell than Hanukkah, and it's true. So we see how that all comes together.
And we know that the events of Hanukkah basically occurred some 160 years before the birth of Messiah, but by the time of Yeshua, by the time of apostles, it had become a long established tradition to celebrate Hanukkah. And Hanukkah, if you're not aware, celebrates the Maccabees' defeat over the assimilation, basically, recapture of the temple, cleaning of the temple, rededicating its service back to God. And during that, they find the menorah. They want to light it.
Well, they find the oil, too.
And I was getting there.
I'm sorry.
I was going, but there's only enough oil for one day, and you say, and the oil.
Right.
And it takes 8 days to consecrate and produce new oil.
Right.
But they felt it was more important to go in and light it and do that symbolism to God of, here's our heart, then wait. And according to the legends, they lit it, and what happened?
The miracle happened. It stayed lit for the 8 days. People say, did it really happen? Here's the thing. Why would we celebrate for 8 days if it didn't happen? Well, just them taking the land would be one thing. They retook the land. They did it in 3 years. It was guerrilla warfare, against all these odds. The fact is, a miracle took place, and that's what we're remembering. That's why we celebrate this feast. And Yeshua himself, God himself, celebrated the feast as well.
So we were talking about, you've got your 8 days.
Right.
But as we've said, this menorah has something special.
It has a 9th candle called the Shamash candle, meaning the servant candle. And what do we see? How did our Messiah come? To serve. He is the Shamash, the servant candle.
Well, and we know it says in Mark 10, 44 through 45, whoever wishes to be first among you shall be the servant of all. Right. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many.
Right, and we also know, Judy, that Yeshua's ministry was for 3 years. How do we know that? There was 3 Passovers mentioned, but also we see here that he has 3 messages on the light, being the light of the world. We see this corresponding with Yeshua's celebration of 3 Hanukkahs as well. So it really brings this spiritual connection together as we really see how our Messiah is the light of the world. How, when you have darkness and you light that one candle, it brights up the whole room.
Well, and John 1, 4 through 5 ties in with what you were saying. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it.
Right. So we see these connections of how it all comes together and the importance of this feast. Now, here's my question to you out there as believers. If Yeshua celebrated this feast, and this is a man-made feast, why aren't we celebrating? Why isn't the church celebrating this great miracle that took place that points to our Messiah, who we see here as the light of the world? They say 'tis the reason for the season. He is the light. What are you supposed to do? You put the candles in the windows to shine his light. It's a great message for us as believers.
And the whole purpose of lighting the Hanukkah is to view that light.
Right.
It really, the Jewish halakha, like the laws governing how it's done, says it shouldn't be used for any other purpose except viewing.
Right. And you should put it in your window as well. Now, there are some requirements on your Hanukkah. Because a lot of people, you can make your own. We do a contest at our congregation every year where people make their own. The one requirement, the shamus candle, the serving candle, needs to be higher than all the other candles. Besides that, have 9 candles, have fun, have your kids make them. They're great. When we were in Israel, Judy, we were we were given a Hanukkah. It was a very special blessing and a neat, really very much touched us with the thought that they had of giving us this very pretty Hanukkah menorah for us to celebrate. It's great memories. And here's the neat thing. It's a lot easier to decorate than Christmas. It takes about 3 minutes. 2 minutes to find it, 1 minute to put it out. That's it. You light the candles. You can go to our website, rabbiscott.com, under Feast of the Lord. Again, these are the Feasts of the Lord. It says Hanukkah. You can click on there. It tells you about it, how to celebrate it. Make this a special time. We do with our daughter. Traditionally they didn't give gifts, but with everything going on because it's so close to the Christmas season, people will give gifts now. We give our daughter one gift tonight. You can also play the dreidel game, legal gambling. They can't stop you from playing dreidel. It's a lot of fun. You can get Hanukkah gelt, which is gold coins of chocolate, and you spin the dreidel. You can either get everything, get half, give one, or lose your turn. And it's a great way to remember what happened. And you cook food in oil. So it's a fattening lunch. It's one of these holidays. They tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat.
Well, and the fried food in the oil reminds us of the miracle of the oil again.
Right.
But I think it's interesting that some of rabbis have taken the explanation of why we eat fried food on Hanukkah one step further. And
This
they
could
say
be dangerous, Rabbis and fried food. Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, you're so totally not there, okay? They say that oil is like studying Torah in two ways.
Right.
Oil is not a food we eat by ourselves and not necessary for our daily existence. It simply adds pleasure to our food and our life, as does the study of Torah. And oil has the potential to illuminate. If you stand in a dark room, you can light it. You light oil to see the room around you. Study of Torah can also illuminate our world for us. And we know study of Torah, and when you pray to have that true revelation, is going to lead us to that light of the world.
That's right. And when we talk about Torah, we're not just talking about the Torah and the Haftorah. We're talking about the Brit Hadashah too, the renewed covenant, as we see it all as one. It's one continuous book from Genesis to Revelation. They all come together, and we see how there's that balance that takes place. And so, that's really the interesting fact of this feast. It's such a, I love this time of year because it brings people together, but it also reminds us of the great miracle that God did. One thing that's a special blessing for me, Judy, and I know it's for you too, is 2 years ago when we went to Israel, we actually started, when we did my brother Jay's trip to Israel through the American Center for Law and Justice, we actually started a forest in the place where the Maccabees were. Mm-hmm. And so people are going to be going back there now and be able to eventually stay under trees, and you can be able to tell the story of how Judah Maccabee, and his father and his children, how they stood up. One person made a difference. And you know what? You, as a believer in Messiah, can stand with Israel. One person can make a difference. Plant a tree in Israel. You can go to our website at rabbiscott.com. We plant trees through the Jewish National Fund. Also, support this work. It says, I will bless those who bless my people Israel. We're getting towards the end of the year. Now's a great time to do it. Go to our website, rabbiscott.com. Until next week, this is Rabbi Scott
and Judy
saying shalom and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.